You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Bold and the Beautiful fans. So Hope Logan's world turns upside down this week as Brooke Logan is so fed up with her daughter that she verbally destroys her and just walks away. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and before we get into Hope's life imploding and her trying to figure out where to go from here after alienating her mom, please click that subscribe button if you're not following us. So, you know, Daddy Deacon was not always in Hope's life, and Ridge was in and out of it as her stepdad, but Hope always had one constant: her mother, Brooke. No matter what Hope does, Brooke is always there for her. But believe it or not, she gives her daughter a stern and surprising ultimatum this week. The previews for the week of March 24th have Hope tearful, and she's going to the same person she always takes her problems to, her mom. But Brooke stuns Hope when she piles onto the problems instead of offering reassurances. You know, Brooke will generally agree that Hope has been Steffi's victim and that she doesn't deserve what's happening, and she'll take Hope's side when she's angry at people like Steffy and to some extent Ridge and to some extent Carter. But this week starts off with Hope fired again and insisting that Carter leave Forrester Creations and walk out in solidarity with her. And Hope's ultimatum rubs up against Ridge's ultimatum because both of them make one on Carter on Monday. And it's basically Ridge saying, walk out with her, and that's it. We're done. And Hope's kind of saying the same thing, but it's about her and Carter's personal relationship, where Ridge is talking about professionally. And of course, Hope took it for granted that Carter would walk out with her, but that seems quite unlikely to happen. Although Hope tells the Forresters that she and Carter are a team and tells him, don't let them pull us apart, it looks like, yeah, they are gonna pull them apart. Things have changed for her boyfriend. So not only does Hope face the loss of her career at Forrester, she has been embarrassed again in front of Steffy and Ridge because she's not gonna get what she wants from Carter, and they are gonna think they won. And of course, Brooke was quite upset last week when Steffy refired Hope because Ridge and Eric had promised Carter that they wouldn't scrap her line, but they're not the sole decision makers at FC. And Steffy is not going to tolerate Hope being at the company after being right there and pushing Carter to steal it. And then not even so much that, but Hope was rubbing all the ill-gotten power in everybody's faces. I mean, come on. She was out of control, saying stuff, being very smug, talking about how it's always going to be this way when they stole something that wasn't theirs. And although you would expect Brooke to push really hard to get Hope unfired, and she may push a little, but something's going to change for Brooke this week as well. And at the same time, Hope finds herself jobless. Brooke's about to make another run at Ridge. And it definitely seems like Brooke thinks that with Ridge and Steffy back in the driver's seat at FC, he'll just come running back to her. Maybe Brooke thinks Taylor was just Ridge's replacement bed warmer until their destiny got back on track. But she may get a reality check, and Hope is going to get a reality check too. She thinks Carter should fight to keep her at the company, but he swallowed Steffy firing Hope because he knew there was going to be consequences to pay, but he's not the one paying them. Hope is. And this week, Carter comes over to see Hope to lobby for them to continue on with their love affair, but she is furious. She thinks Carter threw her under the bus and betrayed her. And as part of that discussion, Hope said she loved him. Past tense with a D. So she may have Carter thinking, was I really being used and I didn't realize it? Because that doesn't sound like unconditional love. So Hope may be alone soon unless she forgives Carter. And even if she forgives Carter, if he decides she is using him, he may still walk away. So no job, no one to listen while she complains. MacInnes, laying on her pillow with her. And this week, Brooke presses Ridge about dumping Taylor, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Ridge is going to stick with Taylor. And then later in the week, Hope's in tears talking with her mother about Carter not having her back. And I'm sure Hope is going to rage about the Forresters being liars for letting Steffy cancel her line and fire her despite what they told Carter. All in all, Hope is not willing to accept any blame for any of the consequences that are happening as a result of her unethical and sketchy actions. Pushing Carter to steal the company, rubbing people's faces in it, crapping on the Forresters that own the company. And not only that, but Hope was marching around Forrester, pushing her own agenda, even though she technically had no power at the company. She was kind of power mad. So when Hope starts spouting off about all the people who've done her wrong, Brooke blows up at her daughter. We're going to see Hope torn a new one as a tearful Brooke finally blows her top. For a long time, she's been very gentle with Hope, trying to get her to see the error of her ways on her own. But that ship sailed. She's not going to acknowledge she did any wrong. So her temper is frayed, and Brooke loses it and tells Hope she has no sympathy for her until she takes responsibility for what she has done. I mean, ouch, that's gotta hurt. Despite Brooke lashing out at her, I just don't see Hope taking responsibility coming anytime soon. And I think it's not just responsibility for Hope getting fired. In a way, I think Brooke is blaming her for her losing Ridge, because you can draw a line from point A to point B, and that might be what has pushed her mom over the edge. So as Bold and the Beautiful goes along this week, looks like Carter and Hope are left fractured. Then Brooke takes a step back. That's another relationship fractured, leaving Hope alone, fighting a battle she's already lost with no allies at her side, at least not on the Logan property or any Forrester property. And next week, this coming week, Daphne's making a play when Carter is vulnerable, and it might give him the push he needs to walk away from Hope. He has feelings for Daphne already. We've seen Carter wrestle with all this when she kissed him, so Daphne may win out. Carter may walk away from Hope, leave all that anger behind. And as things stack up against her, we're going to see Hope run to her dad, Deacon, after her mom completely destroys her with this brutal reality check. And Hope has got nobody interested in this fight with Steffy anymore, but heading over to see Deacon and his wife Sheila and her, homicidal grandkid Luna, Hope may find more sympathetic ears. All along we've seen her insist that stealing the company was the right thing to do, like they were some kind of warriors correcting a grievous injustice being done. But in the end, after Brooke blasts Hope this week, she is going to have to find a new direction and new allies. But I doubt Hope's anger is going anywhere. I don't think her attitude is going to shift, and I don't think she is going to say, yeah, you're right, I did something wrong. Her attitude may shift to worse, but I don't think it's going to shift to better.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.